Hey there, I'm Martine, and today we'll be reading about Celestine V, who was once named Peter, from Stories of the Saints, written by Carrie Wallace, with illustrations by Nick Thornborough. Peter's family was poor even before his father died, leaving his mother alone with 12 children in their little town outside Naples. But his mother never talked about the fancy clothes and fine food she couldn't afford to enjoy. Instead, she told the children that her deepest wish was for one of them to become a saint. "Which one of you will be my saint?" she asked them. "I will," Peter cried. Peter grew up in the first days of the 13th century when Italy was still a collection of cities that ruled themselves like tiny countries. But when Peter became a young man, he didn't go into the city to seek his fortune. Instead, he went out into the wilderness to live as a hermit. He slept in a cave in the side of a mountain and spent his days praying and reading the Bible, copying books, or doing hard work so that the devil wouldn't bother him. Eventually, other hermits gathered around him, so he started a new order and led them for a few years. But his heart was still drawn to the desert. So he left his monks in the care of another leader and went off to live on his own again in the wilderness. When Peter was a very old man, the Pope died. And when the cardinals got together to choose a new Pope, they couldn't agree. For 2 years they argued among themselves, and the church limped along without a leader. Peter sent the cardinals a message from the wilderness. "God is not pleased," he told them. "If you do not choose a pope in the next 4 months, disaster will strike us." The quarrelsome cardinals looked around at one another. Then one of them shouted, "Let's make Peter the pope!" Exhausted and worried by the prophecy of doom, the rest of the cardinals finally agreed. But when messengers came to the wilderness to tell Peter he had been made pope, he wept. "I don't want to be the pope," he said. "You have to," the cardinals told him. "Remember the message you sent us? Do you want disaster to strike?" So Peter agreed and took the name Celestine V. But he turned out to be a very strange pope. The pope was supposed to rule from Rome, but Celestine stayed in Naples, near where he had been born. He rode to his coronation on a donkey. Here he is on his donkey. Look at how confused everyone looks. I would be confused too. And when he visited Rome, instead of living in the rich apartments of the Pope's palace, he had a little wooden hut built for himself in one of the palace's giant rooms and lived there. All Celestine had ever wanted to do was pray. He had no desire to deal with all the details of being the Pope. And he couldn't say no to anyone, so he created all kinds of chaos. Sometimes 3 people were assigned to the same job, while some jobs didn't get done at all. After just a few months, Celestine went back to the cardinals. "I wasn't made to be Pope," he told them. "I want to resign." He hoped that he could just go back to his monastery and live out his last days in peace. But the new pope was afraid that Celestine still had power that could be used against him. So he ordered Celestine to join him in Rome. Celestine had no desire to ever go back to Rome, so he snuck off into the woods to escape. But he was an old man, and when the new pope's guards went after him, they quickly captured him. The new pope locked him up in a cell in the castle of Fumone. And Celestine was very happy. "I never wanted anything in this world but a cell," he said. "And a cell is what they have given me." The end.